What if tomorrow was the last sunrise humanity would ever see? A fiery object, invisible until too late, racing through the silent void of space. No warning. No escape. Just a countdown hidden in the darkness. We have always feared the heavens above. From ancient myths of fire raining from the sky to modern telescopes scanning the night, one truth has never changed: the universe is not a safe place. Asteroids, those wandering stones of creation, hold the power to erase everything we have built in a single day. But what would it look like, the day an asteroid ends civilization? How close have we already come without realizing it? In 1908, in a remote Siberian forest near the Tunguska River, the sky exploded. A fireball lit the dawn brighter than 1,000 suns. Trees over 2,000 square kilometers were flattened in an instant. Witnesses miles away described a wave of heat, the ground trembling, windows shattering. And yet, no crater was ever found. Scientists believe it was a small asteroid or comet, maybe just 60 meters across. Too small to be noticed, yet powerful enough to level a city the size of London. If Tunguska had struck hours later, millions would have died. That was only a warning shot, one the Earth barely survived by chance. Could history itself have been shaped by falling stones? 65 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled a lush world. Then, a 10-kilometer wide asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. In seconds, forests vaporized. Shockwaves circled the globe. A towering wall of water roared across oceans. But the deadliest killer wasn't the impact, it was the aftermath. Ash and dust filled the skies, choking sunlight. The earth froze into a dark winter. Plants withered, ecosystems collapsed. Within years, 3/4 of all life vanished. That one asteroid reset evolution, paving the way for mammals, and eventually us. Without it, humans might never have existed. But the same fate could still await us. What if astronomers spotted the killer rock tonight? Imagine the discovery, a faint speck, moving against the stars. At first, just another near-Earth object among thousands catalogued each year. But calculations tighten. Its path intersects Earth. And then the words no one wants to hear: impact is certain. The world changes overnight. Governments meet in secret. Media erupts with panic. Scientists calculate probabilities, size estimates, and potential ground zero. Would it hit an ocean, creating tsunamis taller than skyscrapers? Or slam into a city, igniting millions of lives in fire? No place on Earth is truly safe. How would humanity respond in the final weeks? Would nations cooperate, or descend into chaos? Would we unite under a single goal, to survive, or fracture into fear and denial? Imagine stock markets collapsing. Airports flooded with desperate travelers. Empty shelves in stores. Families torn between fleeing or hiding. Social media would explode with conspiracies, hope, despair. Some would pray. Some would riot. Others would celebrate, turning the end into a final festival of life. Civilization would no longer be measured by decades, but by days. Could we stop it? Movies like Armageddon and Deep Impact imagine heroic missions, astronauts planting bombs, saving the world at the last second. But reality is far harsher. Space is unforgiving. Rockets take years to design, test, and launch. And deflecting a mountain of rock traveling at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour? That's beyond our current abilities, unless we have years of warning. NASA's DART mission in 2022 proved we can slightly alter an asteroid's path by crashing a spacecraft into it. A historic first. But DART was a small test on a harmless asteroid. Scaling that to a civilization killer is another story. If we discover the threat too late, months or even days before impact, there is no salvation. Only acceptance. What happens in the final hours before collision? The asteroid would appear in the sky, brighter than Venus. A fiery wound growing larger each night, until even children could see it without telescopes. News anchors would speak with trembling voices. Sirens in cities would wail as governments broadcast last instructions. And then, silence. People would gather, on rooftops, beaches, fields, staring at the cosmic executioner above. Some would hold hands. Some would scream. The world would wait together. What does the moment of impact look like? First, the flash. Brighter than 1,000 nuclear bombs. The air itself ignites. Temperatures soar beyond comprehension. Those near ground zero vanish instantly, turn to shadows etched in stone. The shockwave follows, faster than sound, flattening everything for hundreds of kilometers. Glass melts. Steel bends. Cities crumble. If it strikes the ocean, walls of water rise, swallowing coastlines, devouring nations. If it strikes land, firestorms race outward, burning forests and towns. And above it all, a pillar of smoke and dust climbs into the stratosphere, wrapping Earth in a shroud. Day becomes night. Crops die. Animals starve. Civilization falls. Could any human survive such a cataclysm? Maybe, in bunkers buried deep underground. Governments have secret facilities, prepared for nuclear war. But how long could they last when the surface becomes unlivable for years? Seeds would rot. Supplies would dwindle. The air would thin of oxygen as plants die. Survival would not mean life, it would mean exile in a dying world. Perhaps tiny pockets of humanity could endure. Tribes in caves. Scientists in shelters. But civilization, as we know it, would end. The internet, cities, culture, history, all gone. A reset, just as it happened for the dinosaurs. Is there hope beyond destruction? Humanity has always balanced on the edge of annihilation. Yet we endure. Perhaps, if enough survive, we would rebuild. New societies, born from the ashes of the old. Stories of the great fire from the sky would pass into legend, just as ancient peoples once told myths of gods hurling thunderbolts. And maybe, centuries later, survivors would again look at the night sky. They would see not just beauty, but warning. For the universe is not our friend. It is indifferent, vast, and filled with silent threats. Why do we look to the stars, knowing they might one day kill us? Because within that danger lies destiny. The only way to ensure our survival is to leave Earth. To scatter across planets, moons, and beyond. So that no single rock can erase us. Space is both the executioner and the escape. The asteroid that ends civilization is not just a story of death, it is a reminder of fragility, and of purpose. Our fate is not sealed, not yet. But the clock is ticking. And so, the final question remains, when the sky burns and the earth trembles, will humanity face it with fear, or with defiance? Will we vanish like the dinosaurs, or rise like phoenixes from the ashes? The day an asteroid ends civilization is not just an ending. It is the ultimate test of what it means to be human.